Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency, a digital asset that uses cryptography to control its creation and management rather than relying on central authorities. Originally designed as a medium of exchange, Bitcoin is now primarily regarded as a store of value. The history of Bitcoin started with its invention and implementation by Satoshi Nakamoto, who integrated many existing ideas from the cryptography community. Over the course of Bitcoin's history, it has undergone rapid growth to become a significant store of value both on and offline. From the mid-2010s, some businesses began accepting Bitcoin in addition to traditional currencies. Prior to the release of Bitcoin, there were a number of digital cash technologies, starting with the issuer-based eCash protocols of David Chaum and Stefan Brands. The idea that solutions to computational puzzles could have some value was first proposed by cryptographers Cynthia Dwork and Moni Nair in 1992. On the 18th of August 2008, the domain name bitcoin.org was registered. Later that year, on the 31st of October, a link to a paper authored by Satoshi Nakamoto titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, was posted to a cryptography mailing list. 15. This paper detailed methods of using a peer-to-peer network to generate what was described as a system for electronic transactions without relying on trust. On the 3rd of January 2009, the Bitcoin network came into existence with Satoshi Nakamoto mining the Genesis block of Bitcoin, block number 0, which had a reward of 50 Bitcoins. Embedded in the Genesis block was the text. The text refers to a headline in the Times published on the 3rd of January 2009. This note has been interpreted as both a timestamp of the Genesis date and a derisive comment on the instability caused by fractional reserve banking. The first open-source Bitcoin client was released on the 9th of January 2009, hosted at SourceForge. One of the first supporters, adopters, contributors to Bitcoin and receiver of the first Bitcoin transaction was programmer Hal Finney. Finney downloaded the Bitcoin software the day it was released, and received 10 Bitcoins from Nakamoto in the world's first Bitcoin transaction on the 12th of January 2009, block 170. Other early supporters were Wei Dai, creator of Bitcoin predecessor B-Money, and Nick Szabo, creator of Bitcoin predecessor BitGold. One of the first miners included James Howells, who subsequently lost thousands of Bitcoin to a landfill in Newport. In the early days, Nakamoto is estimated to have mined 1 million Bitcoins. Before disappearing from any involvement in Bitcoin, Nakamoto in a sense handed over the reins to developer Gavin Andresen, who then became the Bitcoin lead developer at the Bitcoin Foundation, the anarchic Bitcoin community's closest thing to an official public face. Newspaper headline he had encoded in the Genesis block came from the UK-published newspaper The Times, and both his forum posts and his comments in the Bitcoin source code used British English spellings, such as optimize and color. An internet search by an anonymous blogger of text similar in writing to the Bitcoin white paper suggests Nick Szabo's BitGold articles as having a similar author. Nick denied being Satoshi, and stated his official opinion on Satoshi and Bitcoin in a May 2011 in a March 2014 article in Newsweek. Journalist Leah McGrath Goodman doxed Dorian S. Nakamoto of Temple City, California, saying that Satoshi Nakamoto is the man's birth name. Her methods and conclusion drew widespread criticism. In June 2016, the London Review of Books published a piece by Andrew O'Hagan about Nakamoto. After a May 2020 YouTube documentary pointed to Adam Back as the creator of Bitcoin, widespread discussion ensued. The real identity of Satoshi Nakamoto still remains a matter of dispute. The first notable retail transaction involving physical goods was paid on May 22, 2010, by exchanging 10,000 mined BTC for 2 pizzas delivered from a Papa John's in Jacksonville, Florida. Laszlo Hanage, who lives in Jacksonville, created a thread in an online forum offering the Bitcoins for anyone who could order him 2 pizzas. Jeremy Sturdivant, a user from England, accepted the offer and ordered the pizzas to his home. The 10,000 Bitcoins were worth about $40 USD at the time. This event would mark May 22 as the Bitcoin Pizza Day for crypto fans. At the time, a transaction's value was typically negotiated on the Bitcoin forum. Citation needed. On 6 August 2010, a major vulnerability in the Bitcoin protocol was spotted. While the protocol did verify that a transaction's outputs never exceeded its inputs, a transaction whose outputs summed to more than permitted the transaction author to create arbitrary amounts of Bitcoin. On the 15th of August, the vulnerability was exploited. A single transaction spent 0.5 Bitcoin to send just over 92 billion Bitcoins to each of 2 different addresses on the network. Within hours, the transaction was spotted, the bug was fixed, and the blockchain was forked by miners using an updated version of the Bitcoin protocol. Since the blockchain was forked below the problematic transaction, the transaction no longer appears in the blockchain used by the Bitcoin network today. This was the only major security flaw found and exploited in Bitcoin's history.